Hello viewers, we want to really appreciate you for the privilege you've been given Inet MTV all the time by giving us audience. Today again on that Inet MTV, we come to you with something that is very, very germane to your interest. I want to say with emphasis that you will love this program at the end of the day. We want to take a trip to the streets, to our environment, to see men and women doing things that is extraordinarily difficult in our time now. Talking about writings, insightful writings. We will be discussing on some of the writings that bog certain minds and bringing out the beauty of who you're supposed to be. Prince Will Awa is my name. I will be the anchor of this program today. And when we return back, I will introduce to you our guest for the day. Stay with us. Alright, welcome back. Like I said before we proceeded on that break, in the studio here is a gentleman. You can imagine, he's a pastor, he's a motivational speaker, he's an entrepreneur. Count them. But he decided to put up something of interest to you and I, even in this post-political era in our environments. Welcome to the studio, Inet Studio, Pastor Samuel Johnson. Pastor Samuel Johnson will be our guest today, but he's a writer, like I said earlier. Good to have you in this program, sir.
Thank you for having me, and I appreciate you for the platform given to me.
All right. How has it been? Were you able to cast your votes over some couple of days ago?
Yeah, we appreciate a lot. The election has come and it has done. Business has to continue as usual.
All right.
Glory be to the name of God.
All right. Thank you so very much. Viewers, we are talking with Pastor Johnson. He will be taking us into a trip of how possible is it for him to come up with some writings that will be of help to the next generation. Let's just get directly to the talking points here. On my desk here are 3 different books that you have written. Maybe at the stretch, I wouldn't know, I wouldn't be able to say this, but you have made 3 writings. The journey to this writing, how has it been?
We give glory unto God. It's a journey that is very interesting, a journey with a message in mind and a destination in mind as well. We started with trying to understand the major problem of young people, the major problem of youth of these days.
Okay.
And I got to know that they don't really discover who they are. And until you discover who you are, you might not become a successful, you might not become a success to your world. Okay. And I started the journey of how can I simplify purpose? How can I relate purpose with an afraid mind?
And with the reality of our environment.
Yes, sir. Because I discovered that life is all about discovery. God has done everything we need, but we need to discover. And the greatest discovery here on earth is purpose discovery.
All right. I think we are going to put it at that place for now. The greatest things in life here is purpose discovery. How to discover your purpose. And of course, until you discover this purpose, every other things may not be possible.
Yes, sir, you're right.
All right. Now, chief of these books here, is this your first writings or you've been making writings before today?
Here is a long journey, and this is the first set of books I will be putting to my audience.
All right. Thank you. Now, I think the first one I have here, viewers, you can see the beautiful cover back here. It says, "You have a space. You have a space. Wherever you are, in Nigeria, everywhere in the world, you have a space." And the writer is how to discover your niche and dominate your space on earth. Take us into the theme of this book. What really gave you the insight to bringing this book to publishing?
Thank you very much, sir. The first thing that stirred my mind to write this book is there are so many people that believed they don't really have anything that takes to influence their world. And I began to make one or two research on that, and I got to know that everybody living here on earth is created for a purpose, with a purpose, and to be powered by a particular potential right from the inside out. So I got to understand that everybody is created to fulfill God's purpose for his life.
All right. And so that is the drive,
yes, sir,
that led you to the writing of this book. And this book, as it is now, is a machine that will help people, drive them to their destination.
Yes, sir.
What is the public view about this book? Has it been sampled in the public? Is there any comment? Are people recommending it?
Yes, sir. I started with some of my colleagues, my fellow pastors, and some of the youth, because I am into a youth ministry. So I've given different samples, different copies to different set of youth based on their thinking, based on their mindsets.
All right.
And I gave it to some of the pastors, and the feedback is encouraging. A lot of them said that they can't take their hand and eyes off the book. And I try to say if the book is boring or attractive to youth, because I got to know that youth of these days, they hardly read. In fact, Africa, reading is not part of our culture. So I need to write a book that will not be boring for an average youth who is not ready to read, and I want to encourage them to read. So we have a lot of mind-blowing expression there that can catch their attention and that will make them to give audience to reading.
All right. You're talking about the content, the makeup of the book.
Yes, sir. You're right.
That's content that is going to be useful to our teeming youth. Of course, you know it is your responsibility to read, no matter what is hidden inside of this book. If you don't read, you may not be able to have what this book is talking about. It's talking about you reading, opening. First and foremost, you're going to get a copy of this book. It is your duty to open this book. Spend time out to read, to know more that you have a space. You don't got to drag space with anybody. That's what our guest is talking about here.
They're talking about the space.
Yes.
For you to discover your space, you must understand the life assignment God has for your life here on earth. Because you are not just here by accident. God has packaged so many things right on the inside of
embedded
you.
On the inside.
Yes, so many things are inherent in your spirit man. So when you are born, you are a gift to this world. So everything on the inside of you is meant for a particular assignment, and that's the assignment God has for your presence here on earth, and that's what you need to occupy your space with. You don't just say I want to occupy your space. You must have a particular value you want to use to drive the space. So your potential everything you are loaded with from the inside is what you need to occupy and dominate your space.
It's all right. I think at this point I will just need us to pause a bit to consider something that is very, very germane to the driving of the title of this book. Now, you're talking about discovering a niche.
Yes, sir.
Given the challenges we have in our politics, economical challenges, and the likes of them in Nigeria, precisely, how possible will it be for a young man, a young mind that is facing all these challenges to discover his or her niche?
In fact, niche discovery is very, very important. By the time you discover your purpose, you need to narrow it down. Because what you have on the inside is not meant to function everywhere. Nobody is loaded to be effective in every aspect of life.
Yes.
So when you discover the life assignment you have to narrow it down to a particular niche. That is what you have on the inside can effectively handle. So your niche is what is going to discipline your life. It will make your life very easy. It will be very easy for you to manage your life because you know you can't be everywhere. So by the time you concentrate, it is your area of focus and concentration in life. So that is what becomes your niche, and within few years you will be able to become an authority in such a field because you've narrowed down your life to a particular thing, one thing that you can do better than a lot of people in life.
All right, thank you. I want to believe that our teaming youth and viewers are trying to draw up something from what you have said so far. Let's get to the area of mentorship, because I discovered that to discover a niche is very, very challenging. It may not be that easy,
yes,
meaning that a certain person requires to be mentored.
Yeah.
Let's just take us there. How can a youth or anybody be mentored to develop, or discover this niche?
Yeah, mentorship is something that is not negotiable for whoever that want to become amazement to his word. So if you want to become a success to your word, like I said, you need to learn how to discover purpose. You need to see people that can give you the platform, people that has gone ahead of you, people that understand what niche discovery means.
Okay.
For instance, if you have your niche, you need to have a kind of model to run your niche with. If you have a niche and you don't have model and strategy to run your niche with, it will be highly frustrating. Because niche is more or less like you are creating a value, you want to deliver the value to your audience, and you want to capture the same value back. And you might not be able to do it for the first time. So you need to, and it's your responsibility to discover who is in that field, who has done what you intend to do. Somebody who is living in the reality that you have in your heart.
Okay. All right. I think because this program, if you are to give our guests enough time or more than a time, you will speak more and more. Don't forget, he's an author. So let us go beyond here. Let's begin to look at dangers for ignoring mentorship. Because from what you have said so far, a lot of youth in our time today, they're not mentored, and they're not available. They're not readily available to be mentored. And there is need for them to discover something, to develop something. And most of them are ignoring who will mentor them. So what are the several dangers when people, ignore a certain person, a valuable person, a resourceful person that could mentor them to stand right?
Let me start with this. It wastes a lot of time. And listen, time, I always tell people, time is no money. Time is more than money. Time is life. Time wasted is more or less like life wasted. So if you don't have someone to mentor you, or if you are not able, or if you are not ready to submit yourself to mentorship, you are going to waste an important aspect of your life, the most productive aspect of your life. Let me give you an instance. Some 6-7 years ago, I worked with one of the former MD of Baja Paint. I think Obahakran.
In Lagos, yeah?
Yes, in Lagos.
Yeah.
So most time we went for meeting, and the experienced man gathered for more than 40 years. Within 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, most times I was able to get beyond what is required for me at that point in time. So one of the importance of mentorship is that an experience that someone has gathered for more than 20, 30 years,
yes,
you can have access to it within
a shorter period of time.
Yes, and it's going to reduce how long that would naturally or normally that would take for you to fulfill your destiny in life. So it's going to speed your journey to the top. Then there are so many because you learn by mistakes. So you will have known a kind of mistake that you can commit that can drag you away from your destiny, that can drag you away from God's purpose for your life. So you learn from them, you learn what you need to do, you learn the do's and you learn the don'ts.
It's all right. I think we still have, do not forget, we are speaking with Pastor Johnson. Now, of course, Pastor Johnson is an author of several of these books and also an entrepreneur and a motivational speaker. We are still in the studio of Inet MTV, one of our global TV stations online that you cannot just ignore. Stay with us. When we return, we'll get into yet another book that he has written. Welcome back. We, like I said earlier, before we proceeded on that short break, the second book here on our desk today is Engaging the Inner You. Engaging the Inner You. You. We're talking about you. Every one of us is you. This is just the book, Engaging the Inner You. Now, this book has a writer understanding how to live from the inside out and unlock the power in you. That is, if you believe that there is an innate power that is in you. Let me ask the publisher or the writer again, what also led to this? Because every man believes the power they have is to influence things legally or illegally to their own advantage. But this one is engaging the inner you. Quite abstract. What led you to this topic?
Based on my research, I got to understand that so many people think they are incapacitated, that they don't have what it takes to influence their world.
Okay.
Most people think they keep focusing on the power from the outside. And because they don't have political power, because they don't have the economic power, they don't have the financial power, and they think there is no power anywhere
in them.
Yes. Without knowing that the power is carried is on the inside, that the inner man on the inside is the one that carries the power. So without connecting with the man on the inside, there is nothing to power the man on the outside. And the message this book is passing is to tell us that every one of us, we are so much loaded on the inside that there is nothing our inner being, there is nothing the man living on the inside of us cannot achieve or become here on earth. We are so loaded from within.
Okay. So how do we connect the man on the inside?
But that's the most difficult problem that an ordinary man, an average man is facing.
Hold on, sir. You discover that every man is right. Whatever decisions anybody takes, they seem to be right.
Yes, sir.
If you want to get close to ask why was this done, they will look at it from their own perspective. But the general point view of life itself is that we are connected to one another. And of course, you are talking about the ability of engaging the abstract, what
yes,
we
sir.
don't see.
Yes, sir.
You want to connect to it. You want it to work. What you don't see, the people you see, you couldn't connect them to work. And this one now, you are trying to fight the spirit man, the soul, the body to come together before you're able to achieve something. So how do you now connect using these variables? How do you connect
Sir, thank you for the
demands
question.
from the inside.
Thank you for the question. No, the problem of an average man is that we focus on what we see. And what we see is just a mere shadow of what we don't see. The tangible is not as powerful as the intangible.
Okay.
So everything seen in our world is the product of what we don't see right from the spirit. So it is the supernatural that is abstract that controls the natural. But most people want to use natural to control the natural. A natural man will not be able to influence his natural life. So it takes faith to collect the man on the inside of you that you don't see. Your sense, the 5 senses of human being cannot engage that man on the inside. You can only engage the man on the outside. That I'm saying you this way. Okay. So I want to connect with the outward man in you. I can, with my 5 senses, I can get in touch with you. Okay. I can touch you. I can feel you. But you can't do the same thing to the man on the inside. So it takes your 6th sense. If you don't activate your 6th sense, there is no how you can connect the man on the inside. Like I said the man on the inside is so loaded that there is nothing he cannot achieve here on earth. There is nothing he cannot become here on earth. The moment you can believe, you conceive, and your conception with belief, it will surely come to reality. So you need faith. Okay. Now faith is like, let me simplify faith. Faith is a proof of connecting with things in the realm of the spirit that the senses of man cannot perceive. Anything that cannot be seen, that cannot be objectified, your outward man will not be able to resonate with it. So the outward man does not really carry much weight. So it is your inner being that is loaded, and until you understand the subject matter of faith, you will not be able to activate the man locked on the inside of you. So because you can't see him, and it takes you to operate in the realm of the spirit, and it takes faith. Faith is the language that is being spoken in the realm of the spirit, and the inner man is a spirit man. So when you understand the subject matter of faith, that faith has nothing to do with your emotion, has nothing to do with your feeling. You just believe. Faith is you saying something that is unreal. Then faith becomes the proof of its reality. So faith becomes the reality that there is a man on the inside of you who is loaded for you to power the outward man on the outside.
All right, viewers, of course, thank you, sir. See, this topic, this question that was raised becomes so complex in that if you are listening to us, it is your responsibility to begin to move away from certain ideology that was stagnating or setting you back, and connect to that drive in you. Begin to do something, engaging the inner you. Sometimes we do blame our environment. Some blame their parents.
Yes, sir.
Some blame the culture. In fact, even in Nigeria, as we speak now, we have the blame culture, the government, and every other person. I quite understand all of these variables. But be that as it may, we are talking about the inner you that is being controlled by the Holy Spirit. I don't know if I'm on point at this point, because many people have certain things that work. A lot of people believes in sign. Some believes in Leo, believes in so many things. The is a horoscope. So they believe because you've not succeeded, you belong to so and so and so series. Because you've succeeded, this is this. Or the parent have washed his face. That is why he's able to discover himself. Let's get in there briefly in here. What happened? Because we're talking to the teeming youths who are relatively confused in this contemporary era.
I really appreciate what that question. You just hit the nail on the head. What do I mean? Everything in life here on earth is controlled by a particular spirit. And that's why you see so many people that want to succeed in business. At times they might need to join a particular group, maybe an occultic group that have a very strong spirit that can always command whatsoever they want. Like I told you, the natural here is being controlled by the supernatural. And the natural will not have any resistance, any strong resistance to resist the supernatural. So if you want to succeed in life, it goes beyond what you can see. It goes beyond your parents. It goes beyond whether you have inherited a particular word from your parents. You have to get connected to the source. It takes the spirit to control the natural. You see, everything we are seeing in the physical has been perfected long time ago in the realm of the spirit. So power is being emanated from the realm of the spirit. So whether your parent is rich or not, it doesn't make any difference to your future. Whether your parent, your father is a general manager or your father is a general messenger, it doesn't make any difference. What really matters is how you are able to connect the man on the inside. If you can't engage the man on the inside, then there is no how you can have audience or you can command anything on the outside. So it takes who you are from the inside, and it has to do with a particular spirit, and that's the spirit of God. Because everybody, even those who do not believe in God, they knew that the whole world is created by a particular spirit. They might not have the patience, perseverance, and to go through the process that takes to get connected to Him. But they know, because it's not real to them, but something on the inside of them is telling them. But when there is no faith, now to get connected to God, it is when you have that faith. It is that faith that will awaken the man on the inside of you. Then you begin to have a kind of vision for your life. You begin to imagine beyond logic, sight, restrict you to your natural environment, your immediate environment. But the moment you are able to engage the man on the inside, it can travel to anywhere in the world. It can travel to the next 100 years and see what is going to happen in the next 100 years and come back to where you are at the present, and then your present is now driven by the vision of the future that you have seen. Then the moment you are able to align your thinking, because your thinking is another thing, because the man on the inside has to work on your thoughts. You need to activate the power of your thoughts. You can't go beyond the thought you nurture right from the inside of you. So if you now need that thinking, your mindset, you need a mind shift. So it is that mindset that will drive the vision of 100 years that is driving your today. And before you know, 5 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, you get to the vision that you saw some years back.
Wow. Viewers, we are still in the studio of Inet MTV. This program will be shown everywhere, including the YouTube, the Facebook, and on so many other private platforms in the social media. I want to still remind you that the speaker, the guest, is also a youth. He's a pastor, he's a motivational speaker, and also an entrepreneur. We'll be proceeding on this break, and when we return on the final lap, we will be talking about the third book. Of course, at the end of the program, where and how you're going to have contact with the publisher will be made known to you. Stay with us. Welcome back. This should be the final lap on this program today. I want to believe you are enjoying many things there. You see, Pastor Samuel Johnson would have as well joined that group that you belong and stop writing. And nobody in the nearest future will be benefiting from the thing that is resident in him. But he has decided to toe the paths that will lead us to another brighter future by putting some of these things in black and white. The last book that we'll be talking about today in our program is Your Future is Trapped in You, not in anywhere. Your future is trapped in you. Yes, you. Your future is trapped in you. Of course, that means you have the whole of your future in your hands.
You're right, sir.
You have all the things that it takes you to become the better you embedded in you. Of course, if you don't exercise it, it will be there till the end comes. Someday, the end will come. And the rider is finding the missing link between you and your destiny. So I discovered that there is no time we will talk that the you will not be involved. There is nothing we discuss on any program or anywhere that the you will not be involved. Let's get into this. The future is trapped in you. Why are men's future trapped in them?
You see, the reason why I put this into writing is I've seen a lot of people, trying to see as if destiny is something that is imposed on them and they don't have anything to do to influence it, whether good or bad. It's just like destiny. They are mixing destiny and fate. And you see so many people, they are thinking their future is tomorrow, that their future is always ahead of them. And I got to understand that your future is not ahead of you. So if you are thinking one day you will get there, one day I will become this and that, until you understand that your future is trapped right on the inside of you. And the day you discover your future, that is the day you start living your future. So it should be the vision of your future that should drive your presence today. So if you are still waiting for tomorrow, that my future is tomorrow, and you see, it was what you did yesterday that got us to where we are today. And what we did yesterday will not take us beyond where we are today. So today becomes a template for our future. So if you don't have that vision now, then there is nothing to drive your presence. Then it means it is the history of the past, the story of the past that will keep driving your present. Then you keep living in the past. And that's why they keep thinking one day they will get there. You won't get there if you don't start. If the destiny or the destination you don't have in mind, there is no how you can get there. Until you see the destiny in mind, you will never get there. Let me give you an instance. If I'm going to Ikeja, I know where I'm going. And I know that if I'm going to Ikeja, I can go to Ogba. From Ogba, I can get a bus to Ikeja.
Okay.
But if I want to go to Ikeja and I think, okay, let me go through Agbado, let me go through Ishaga, I'm going backward. But because I have an idea of where Ikeja is, I have the mental picture right within. So you
look at the shorter routes that will take you
exactly. So I know where to take and I know where not to take. And it is that mental picture that is driving my today. So your future is never ahead of you. It is right on the inside of that. Another thing that is right in your hand. You are the custodian of your future. Nobody.
But many people opine that many times that the economic strength of a certain nation at a particular time could hinder, their excellence in, tapping into their future dreams. Are you in any way in agreement with this?
That's another myth that we need to start correcting in the lives of our youth. That's why you see this syndrome of Japa here and there. People think if they leave a particular country to another country, then their future can be bright. I'm not saying that will not improve their standard of living, but that doesn't have anything to do with their future, except...
Can you please hold on? We'll come back to that. Because of what you have, the chord that you have just struck now.
Yes, sir.
What then is the difference when we're talking about future?
Yes, sir.
We are looking at, you just made mention of mass exodus of many people leaving their country to another country. You use the word in your local balance.
Yes, sir.
Now, when we talk about future, is future all about having more money or influencing your world the right path, the right way? Is it all about money? Are we measuring future in respect to the amount of money you are able to acquire? Or we are talking about the imprints and how you were able to have affected the lives of people in your own generation? Because many people that have money influence no one. Let's just differentiate between because I know that when they move away from Nigeria, for instance, to United States, they could do any job there. They don't care to be known by anybody. All that they are struggling for, working for, hoping for, is to do anything available to get much more money. They come back home, build, do whatever they can, and that's all. So what is that the difference now between acquiring of wealth, or acquiring money, or working for money, and having a fruitful future that will be able to stand even when you are long gone?
Thank you very much for that question. I really dealt with that question in this book, Your Future is Trapped in You. So we need to understand that there is difference from being a successful businessman. Being successful in your career does not make you a success to your world. A successful person is different from a successful businessman. You see, we are not created to make money. The reason why God created everyone, we are not here by accident. We are here to become a manager over everything that God has created. So man is here, everybody on earth is in the business of adding value to his world. And that is, in a very simple way, in a very simplified manner. We are here to join a community that will add value to his word with everything that is inherent in our spirit man. No, if I become a successful businessman, does not make me a successful person. What makes me a success here on earth is me discovering and fulfilling the purpose of God for my life. If I don't do that,
the purpose of your creation,
yes sir,
personally,
yes sir, my life assignment here on earth, every other thing is secondary. Even some are even tertiary. So, but there's another thing. If I can, like we talk about the niche discovery.
Yes.
If you can understand the purpose of God for your life, because that determines how you are loaded. It determines your potential. It determines your talent. That's what should drive your dream in life. Now, if you can narrow your purpose down to a particular niche, then you will be able to form a particular business model to run that your niche. Then whatsoever you are doing in life has to do with the purpose of God for your life. So success based on purpose discovery has to do with you discovering and fulfilling your purpose on it. In fact, that determines how long you are going to stay here on earth.
Which you are not a factor to determine that.
Yes. So if you that's why you have to always run with a particular vision in heart. Let me tell you the meaning of vision. Vision is just like a God dropping a small portion of eternity in your heart, that your inner man will begin to run with it from the outside.
Okay. I think we are going to hold that in suspense. In the church community, a song do comes, beautiful and is bright. I will get there.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful and is it my future is bright? I will get there. But I discovered by research that some of these songs are not followed up by work, are not followed up by discoveries, are not followed up by research, are not followed up by what must I do to get the God kind of future that I am praying for. But the question is, what must the youths, because this should be the final question, what must the youths do to come out from this syndrome, this quagmire? What must the youth do to come out from this trap that is holding them captive in this contemporary era?
Thank you. They have a lot to do, but it's one after the other. They need to first acknowledge that their future is trapped on the inside of them. That no power has power to influence unless they give permission to.
Okay.
And your parents are not the determinant of your future. So if they can take time, because it takes a whole lot of process, you discover the manual. These 3 books, they are like saying a particular story that can take you from where you are to where you desire to be. When you first discover you connect the man on the inside of you to engage your space, to dominate your space. Okay. Then when you now discover that your future is right on the inside of you, then you begin to see it, because the future you don't see, you can't get there. So if they don't have the vision of tomorrow, then they will keep parabolating. They keep thinking, they will keep waiting. They will think it is a certificate that will take them to where. Your certificate will only earn you a living. Your certificate will never make you a wealthy man. Your talent.
Some certificate don't even earn you living.
Exactly.
It's wasted.
Exactly. So they need to discover the purpose. They need to understand that their future is not ahead of them. And by the time they discover their future, they start living that future. It takes time. And most of them are not ready to follow through. Check everybody who are rolling their space now, like at the age of 40, 50 years. See them that they have been on that particular niche for more than 20 years. Go and ask Reverend Sam. Ask him when he started. Ask him when he has been running with that vision in his mind. A whole lot of sacrifice. We've got to make a whole lot of sacrifice. Concerning the work, we have to double up. I keep saying it. The first thing in the Bible that introduced God to us is work. I go work on the first day, on the second day, on the third day. So God doesn't joke with work. The reason why God brought you here is that God has a work for you to do. It is that work that determines what you are going to become here on earth.
So, all right, viewers, I think you've heard him say this. He will give us the last signature notes that upon creation, God worked. There were no group of young men and women that sat and God just brought one money to come and give them. They just say, hey, Baba, you have done so very well. It wasn't common. It was not even done. It was not done before. It will not be done in our time. And even after our exit, it still will not be done. So it's our responsibility to get up to work. And of course, like I said before, this person, let me ask you this. You are married?
Yes, sir.
Yes. But if you look at him, viewers, he still looks like 25-year-old young man. I know he's more than 25, but he's married. But even upon that, he still have to create time out to write these beautiful books with powerful topics that could change our world. He has done this. Your future is trapped in you. It's a big question you should ask yourself. Is my future trapped in me? You know, we are living in an era where we blame our failures, our ill luck on so many other things. You know, yes, but this book will help you out to know where your future is trapped. Of course, this one, engaging the inner you, is still your responsibility to ask yourself, what is it in me? Of course, the two are almost the same topic. By the time you read through, you understand that you have a duty, you have a job, you have a role to play in coming out of that trap. The first one that was this mentioned here is that you have a space. After you have discovered who you are, the space is available, yes, sir, to do whatever it is you want to do. You want to be the star, you want to be the moon, you want to be the sun, you want to be anything you want to be. Of course, you have that space. At this point, let me take this to you. Tell us briefly about your home, your wife and kids and all those ones. Are you still a bachelor? There are so many spinsters outside. Let them just hear. And this pastor, this motivational speaker, this entrepreneur is not free. You know, you are on white as an angel. Let them know that you are not free. Just tell them.
Thank you very much, sir. In the next 4 months, I will be 11th year in marriage.
Wow. So do you hear that? All right.
So I got married in 2012. I have 2 lovely angels. I have 2 daughters. Okay. One is 8 years and the other one is 5 years.
They want to really see your face, oh. See his face.
So one is 8 years and the other one is 5 years, and they are doing very well.
Okay.
I'm a pastor in the Apostolic Church, and I wear several caps.
Several caps, the accolades that I've just mentioned some.
Within the same niche. Okay. I don't joke with niche. And that makes my life very simple.
So you've discovered yours earlier before now?
Yes, it's a process, and it takes me more than 12 years.
To discover your niche?
Yes. No, when you have the idea, you go with the process. So you have to follow the process. It's a journey.
All right.
And it's even a life journey.
Pastor, I don't want you to return home to have a problem. You have introduced 2 angels. There is one person behind the angels at home. Sir. Talk about her before you have a problem at home.
I have another angel that gave birth to the 2 angels.
Oh, okay.
She also wear like different caps. She's an event manager. She's a fashion designer, and she also says she is into trading. She sells several things, but major thing, she's an event planner. She manages events and she does it very well.
All right, viewers, viewers, I think at this point I want to really thank Pastor Johnson for coming